Hi, this is Ms. Lavodi, and I'm going to take you through the process of how to create a digital collage in order to create a tattoo-inspired digital painting. Before we begin, you should determine if you're going to create an American traditional Japanese, or a hybrid of both of these styles for your tattoo flash-inspired digital painting. You should have reference pictures that you need to fit in with the style you're working with saved to your device, and you should have Medibang Paint open to a letter size canvas in the orientation that you want to work in, either horizontal or vertical. Some of the basic steps we'll be using is using the plus sign in the layers box to select an image to add to bring in your first image, and then resizing using the transform tool. As you bring in images, it's important to think about balance, proportion, repetition, movement, and the negative spaces within your design. Here I have Medibang Paint open to a letter size canvas, which is at 10.98 inches by 8.5 inches, but I switched the height and width so I have a vertical canvas. I click the plus sign in the layers box and I find my first image, which is a picture of my dog Lily Rose, which is going to be the main image of my design. This first area will only let you resize it only so much, so you can go a step further in the transform tool. I don't extract the line art for this image, and I can then again go use the eraser brush tool to remove backgrounds from my pictures, and you can do this to remove backgrounds from pictures that overlap. So I use the soft eraser brush tool, and you can change the settings in brush settings in order to change the size of the brush. From here, I'm adding in some other images that I want to use to create my design. So I have this Sailor Jerry style rose and banner, and now it's very small in this screen. I'm not going to extract the line art, but I am going to use the transform tool to make it a lot larger, and then I can decide where I want to place it in a moment. With this image, I use the selection tool to split it into two separate parts, and then I use the rectangular marquee tool. Looks like a rectangle with dashed lines to select the part of the picture that I wanted to separate. And when it was selected, I then used either the move tool or transform tool to adjust it and change the position. So this is me just taking those images and rearranging them, and then I use the brush tool to erase away the areas that I don't need to see anymore. You can continue to combine and arrange your imagery to further express your ideas about your design. I started to bring in pictures of lilies for the top of the banner, and I decided to change the lettering in the banner, which is something that you can do just so you know how you want to see things in your design. So I just took a color, brushed over it, and then quickly wrote in the name that I wanted to see. A lot of really interesting tattoo flash paintings have more going on than just the central design, so think about how you can activate corners or edges of your paper. I'm going to be bringing in this tattoo flash of a butterfly. I'm not going to extract the line art on this one. I'm scaling it up larger, and then I'm going to erase away the butterflies that I don't need to see in my composition. So I'm only selecting just the one that I want, and then erasing away the rest. From here, I'm going to use the transform tool to move and arrange the butterfly into the corner of the canvas that I want it to be in. Then you can use the duplicate picture icon in your layers box to replicate your image, and then you can click the three dots in the layers box and click flip vertical or flip by itself, and you will be able to create a symmetrical image where you don't have to worry about repositioning everything. You can make little adjustments once they're already flipped and already a mirror image of each other, and then you can choose to merge these down into one layer in a moment. You can bring together separate layers into one layer that you want to manage as one by clicking the three dots in the layers box and then clicking merge down. Do not click merge all. Try to only use this feature when you're absolutely ready to merge pictures together into one layer. So here I have all the butterflies now existing on one layer together, and I have my dog portrait and iris and lilies and rose all together in one picture on a separate layer. Since the butterflies are all on one layer together, I can use the transform tool and scale them as a group, which makes it a lot easier. This is also a reminder to save your work. You want to make sure that you have already made a new save of this design and try to save using the down arrow on the bottom menu bar. Also, a lot of traditional tattoo flash incorporates elements to make the central image more of a focal point. So I'm bringing in this nautical rope so I can create a border around the dog portrait. I am extracting the line art for this part of the picture just to make it a little bit easier and save some time. And then I'm going to scale it up. I'm using that transform tool, and then I'll be erasing away parts of the image that I don't need, such as the anchor and that extra banner. To complete the rope border, I duplicated the image and I flipped it, again using the 3 dots in the layers box and clicking flip vertical, and then I just erased away the part of the rope that overlapped. At this point, I've also merged together the rope with the dog portrait and roses and banners. So lastly, I'm adding in something to the edges of my composition. I really love the purple clouds that I've seen artists like Grez use in their traditional tattoos. So I found a little portion of one of his tattoos, and I'm just positioning it in the right side of my composition for a moment. I'm going to place a new layer over this, so that way I can draw on top of it and trace some of the lines. So I have a blank layer now over these clouds, and I'm going to use the pen, in parentheses it says sharp, brush tool. This is the pen tool that I'm going to be using to actually do all the line work for this in later tutorial. But I'm just going to trace some of these clouds as practice because it mentally helps me understand the style of them. And then what I'll do is, I got this out of the way, I can kind of delete this layer and try it on my own. Again, using the same pen sharp tool, and it might take a few tries to get the lines looking the way you want, but once you have it down, you're good to go. Once your digital reference photo looks the way you want, you're ready to move on to the next tutorial, which is how to outline your work and create all the lines for your digital tattoo flash painting.